Most people associate Las Vegas with fast money, neon lights, and casinos. However, if you've ever watched the History Channel, you are aware that there is a location in that city that deals in porn treasure, which is far more fascinating than poker chips. In the middle of it all, the owner of the gold and silver porn shop, Rick Harrison, was more than simply a businessman. Using lost artifacts, frantic bargaining, and keen intuition, he established an empire. His family is now in disbelief at the magnitude of the riches he is leaving behind. He's the calm, collected guy on Porn Stars, as you may remember. However, Rick's path to a $9 million net worth is paved with hustling, risk, and unexpected turns. Let's turn the tape back. In 1981, Rick was a teenager who worked in a small second-hand business for his father, Richard Oldman Harrison. The first store, which sold coins and collectibles, was only 300 square feet and was located on Las Vegas Boulevard. Rick was the counterman during the day. He repossessed automobiles at night. He paid the bills that way. But he had more ambitious intentions. He and his father had aspirations of making their establishment into a true porn shop. The catch? That was nearly difficult due to Las Vegas law. Opening a porn shop whenever you wanted was not an option. Porn permits have been linked to population growth in the city since 1955. A few new licenses would become available each time the city hit a particular threshold. Rick did something that most people wouldn't do. As he waited for the population to reach the next threshold, he began making weekly calls to the city's statistician. Rick jumped in 1989 when Vegas hit the magic number. The gold and silver porn shop was established immediately off the strip, smack in the middle of the excitement. After the Harrison family obtained their porn license, after that the numbers began to rise quickly. Rick and his father were lending out around $3 million annually by 2005. Just interest from that generated nearly $700,000 a year. And that was before the explosion. Sports fanatics sold autographed mementos. Gamblers pawned Rolex watches to pay for gas money. And something strange, uncommon, or both was brought in every day. Rick, however, desired more than foot traffic. A PBS documentary and a segment on Comedy Central's Insomniac brought exposure to the store in the early 2000s. Rick recognized the possibility. He began making TV show pitches. He spent years pitching it to YouTube, HBO, and everybody else who would listen. Until 2009, nothing remained. Pawn Stars was created when the History Channel took over at that point. It has a straightforward format, real people entering with actual belongings, with the hopes of leaving with money. However, the format wasn't what made it work. Rick was the one. Rick rose to fame thanks to his keen sense of humor, keen eye, and extensive knowledge of everything from vintage firearms to Super Bowl rings. This is where things start to change. After a few seasons, most reality shows fatigue. Porn Stars didn't. It has broadcast 633 episodes in 21 seasons as of June 2023. It's not typical. That is creating history. In an uncommon move for television, the History Channel even renews the series in batches of 80 episodes. At its busiest, the store attracted almost 4,000 tourists per day. Rick's wealth increased in tandem with it. However, behind the scenes, Rick was making wise financial decisions as the cameras captured laughter and transactions. He ventured into the real estate market. He made investments in the markets for gold and silver. Additionally, Rick was ahead of the curve as inflation began to pick up steam in the 2020s. He may have warned you about it on Fox Business. Rick was accumulating metal while everyone else was freaking out over unstable banks and soaring costs. He speaks out about it. He claims that people are purchasing gold and silver to safeguard their wealth, while the U.S. government is producing money like confetti. Fort Knox can accommodate 147 people. Rick is unsure if the 3 million ounces of gold are still there. He has demanded audits, identified weaknesses in the supply chain, and described how governments in South Korea and other nations have limited the sale of gold because they are hoarding it. Owning gold isn't ostentatious to Rick. It is a matter of survival. Furthermore, that isn't theory. He's safeguarding his $9 million legacy in this way. But Rick Harrison has built more than just wealth. He has created a fully functional cultural machine that extends far beyond a Las Vegas porn kiosk. Fans call him Big Hoss, but his son Corey Harrison didn't just walk into a business. He was raised there. After learning the craft from his father, Corey began by cleaning silver in the back room. He is now a key player on Porn Stars, in addition to being the full-time manager of the gold and silver porn shop. With his keen instincts, Corey has become a business force, whether it's outbidding sellers or sealing high-profile deals. That's the true generational wealth in Rick's opinion, giving out the game itself in addition to money. Then there's Chumlee, Austin Russell, Corey's best buddy from boyhood, and the wild card of porn stars. Originally a silly sidekick who made jokes to get through episodes, Rick now turns to Chumlee for Pokémon cards, sneakers, old toys, and pop culture relics. He is skilled at estimating the value of stuff you most likely forgot existed. Furthermore, in 2025 that kind of information is more important than ever. Chumlee finds a Pokémon card collector in Florida, who is holding more than $1.2 million worth of cards, in Season 2 of Porn Stars Do America. That's serious. In 2022, a single card sold for $900,000 at auction. Rick acknowledges that he doesn't understand the excitement, but Chumlee does. Because of this, the store now sells more than $1 million worth of trading cards annually. In Kentucky, Rick and the team will also dive into a rare portrait of Colonel Sanders. That one, Rick had to pay $1,900. But the story was what really mattered to him, because nostalgia is evoked by pop culture items, such as old movie posters, vintage KFC, and Coca-Cola. It links individuals to a recollection, and ordinary things become six-figure assets thanks to that emotional pull. It's best expressed by Rick. It has nothing to do with what you recall. It's about the memories of an entire generation. The real money can be found there. Rick has also been spending a lot of money on Pawn Stars vintage cars. Do America. He purchases a 1957 Ford Thunderbird in Ann Arbor for $40,000 and a 1971 Superb in Providence for $54,000. Rick is aware that if you know where to look and how to haggle, these items will increase in value. The most absurd aspect is that he performs all of this while admirers form a queue around the block. The crew's ability to find value in the most unlikely areas is what draws thousands of visitors. Additionally, the products aren't the only focus this season. Rick is to blame. During a visit to Kentucky, he received recognition as a Kentucky Colonel, a title bestowed by the governor of the state. TV ratings are only one aspect of that recognition. It has to do with service, leadership, and character, the same qualities that made a thrift store into a worldwide chain. This trio transformed a porn business into a major media success. Speaking of gold, Rick is also skilled at spending it, but he always has a plan. Consider the unique occasion when he purchased a letter from 19th century poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow for more than twice the asking amount. The vendor requested $300. Following verification, Rick made an offer of $700. He knew the item was genuine and would have far greater long-term value, not because he was swayed by feelings. Rick thinks like that. If paying more now means earning more later, do so. It's not sentiment, it's strategy. For his family, what does this mean? It indicates that they are inheriting more than just a brand or a store. They are inheriting a machine, a company that made $3 million in loans annually, a show that attracted millions of viewers worldwide, and a gold, silver, and rare valuables vault that was constructed to withstand whatever came next. This is the most impactful section. The pawn shop lost more than just its co-founder. When Rick's father died in 2018, it also lost its core. Pawn performers had frequently featured Richard Harrison, the elderly man. Decades of wisdom, dry humor, and keen intuition all crammed into one sullen face. It was he who opened the first second-hand shop in 1981, marking the beginning of the entire adventure. Additionally, he had amassed a $5 million fortune from the store and the popular show at the time of his death. This is where things start to change, though. Richard revised his will prior to his death. He further clarified in that updated version who would and would not inherit his legacy. Joanne, his wife, remained in the will. Rick, the store's spokesperson and the man who kept it operating for decades, did the same. Before they weren't, his other kids, Christopher and Joseph, were also given names. Richard entirely omitted Christopher from the 2017 revision. No inheritance, no shares, nothing. He didn't conceal it either. Despite his love and compassion for Christopher, the will made it clear that he was being purposefully disinherited. That is a lawful action, yet its icy appearance garnered media attention. The family has never provided an explanation for what transpired. The true cause remains hidden to this day. However, one thing is evident. Richard wanted the Harrison legacy to be clear about who should be in charge. It was left to Rick. Even that carries pressure. Then the lawsuit started. Joanne Harrison, Rick's mother, sued to take over the pawn shop after Richard passed away. She stated that Rick had her sign away her 51% stake in the company, while she was in the hospital in 2000. She claims she should have received Richard's remaining 49%, which would have given her complete control of the store when he passed away. However, her lawsuit claims that Rick failed to deliver all of the necessary paperwork. She claims that $500,000 worth of silver and cash vanished into thin air. She is seeking damages. She wants a judge to impose a legal hold on Rick's usage of anything connected to the family estate and to obtain an asset report. Since we're no longer discussing TV money, that's where feelings start to surface. We're discussing inheritance disputes, allegations, lost gold, and a mother suing her son over the family business. This is the point at which the notion that Rick had it easy crumbles. Rick, meanwhile, continues to go forward. He continues to make significant movements, while the legal drama plays out behind the scenes. He advertised his opulent Las Vegas residence for $3.99 million, 2019. It was a stronghold. It has 4 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a 12-seat home cinema, a wine cellar with 1.00 ottles, a lagoon-style pool with a 10-foot waterfall, a lazy river, and a spa. It is about 9,000 square feet. He spent $600,000 in remodeling. Just the granite floor cost $45,000. When the children grew up, the space became too much for Rick, who had constructed it for his family. Thus, he listed it and released a new chapter. However, Rick is not a home investor. He also spends a lot of money on collectibles, which are his specialty. When he entered a local art gallery in Vegas in 2025 and discovered a rare collection of original pictures from Maurice Sachs, Where the Wild Things Are, it was one of his most astounding purchases. These were authentic, handwritten pages from a beloved children's book that was never formally released. The set was valued at $375,000. Rick's expert, who he brought in, valued the artifacts at $310,000. Rick didn't flinch, though. After much haggling, he was able to secure $250,000. It was therefore among the largest purchases in porn stars' history. He was aware that future value was at stake. The value of those illustrations won't decrease. They will be grateful. And Rick is well aware of how it will affect the riches he is creating. The question now becomes more complex. What becomes of all this? When Rick leaves, there are rare metals, valuable antiquities, and millions of dollars worth of stuff. The tears start to flow at that point, because Rick's planned inheritance is more than simply money. History is what it is. It has narrative assets. Deals are based on risk and expertise. Next in line is his son Corey. Since he was a child, Corey has worked the floor, filmed the show, and studied every aspect of the industry. But it won't be simple to take over Rick's kingdom. It's not just Corey who gets affected. These include Rick's third wife, Amanda Palmer, whom he married in 2021, his former wife Tracy, and his ex-wife Kim. That family tree is complicated. Furthermore, complicated relationships and large sums of money typically result in chaos. There aren't any porn shops on Las Vegas Boulevard that bear Rick's name. There is a whole financial ecosystem. Money, real estate, rare items, gold, show royalties, and now a new media endeavor. You've witnessed Rick purchase $250,000 worth of artwork, autographed guitars, and old coins. However, he takes on the microphone in 2025, which has the potential to substantially boost his income. It's not just Rick Harrison who is launching a new podcast. Chumlee is also in. It is scheduled to debut on streaming services in early 2025 and is titled Porn After Dark. Consider it. Pulling back the curtain and discussing behind-the-scenes negotiations, rare things, and outlandish clients without cameras present are two of the most identifiable voices from porn stars. There is already a genuine buzz. Former executive producer Tracy Whitaker is back on the show, and figures like Mark Davis of the Las Vegas Raiders and Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top are believed to be making special appearances. Millions of dollars could be made from one podcast alone. There is a line of sponsors. Rick has complete control over the streaming networks that are keeping an eye on it. But take a step back and pose the more significant query. What occurs if Rick permanently leaves? Let's start with the numbers. As of right now, Rick is thought to be worth $9 million. Porn Stars, which has spanned for 21 seasons and counting, pays him $100,000 per episode. That's history, not just TV success. Seldom do networks order 80 episodes at once. That was made possible by Rick. He transformed a local porn shop into a well-known national brand. And he is not the end of the empire. Big Host's son, Corey Harrison, has been working in the store since he was a youngster, and is estimated to be worth $4 million. As Rick enters the media industry, Corey has assumed greater responsibilities. He has even written a biography, Licensed to Porn, in which he explores his personal path and the family company. He has also made audacious acquisitions, such as a $38,000 boat, and he has managed to keep the younger audience interested in the franchise. Austin Russell, who plays Chumlee, is a significant brand in his own right, while appearing to be the comic relief. Currently earning $25,000 every episode, he began working at the porn shop at the age of 21. He is the proprietor of Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, a novelty shop with a devoted customer base. He has about $5 million in net worth. Despite everything, Rick still believes Corey is the most qualified person to run the company. Fans witnessed the resulting tension in a 2024 YouTube video, where Rick criticized Chumlee's handling of a rare coin transaction. "It was sloppy," he said. Rick made it apparent that trust goes to Corey, despite Chumlee's desire to advance into management. The rest of Rick's universe now includes Leia. He has a $3.9 million property in Summerland, with granite plank floors, a home cinema with 12 seats, a 10-foot waterfall, and a lazy river, among other luxury properties. Most porn brokers never see that kind of wealth. Additionally, Porn Stars, which has produced spin-offs like Porn Stars Do America, continues to pay him royalties. Rick, Corey, and Chumlee traveled the United States to meet with merchants in that series. It has given the franchise new life and sustained the brand outside of the Vegas store. This brings us full circle to the title. Since tears can take many different forms, Rick Harrison's legacy makes his family weep. Some are about pride. Pain is the source of some. That $9 million doesn't go unnoticed. When Rick eventually resigns, or when his assets are transferred, it goes to a mother who feels she should have half the company, a co-star who wants more, and a willing son. It refers to a legacy that has been meticulously constructed over 3 generations, yet still has flaws that require attention. Rick's next actions are crucial because of this. He is entering the media. He is making investments in collectibles that increase in value rather than decrease. As inflation trembles the economy, he is holding tangible assets. In addition to teaching his children how to manage the store, he is also modeling for them how to build a future outside of it. Fans are therefore still interested in what he does next, because Rick created a blueprint rather than merely a porn shop, and every part of that plan will be important when it turns into a will. The family tree, the podcast, the lawsuits, the gold, the royalties, and the real estate. The biography of Rick Harrison began with a $3 loan for an old stereo. He is now worth millions. And after everything is said and done, that luck may do 2 things: make his family closer or farther distant.